Hi guys, I hope you're well and welcome to episode 156 of the Layton Fitness Podcast. Now in this particular episode I want to discuss what you should do to maintain as much muscle mass as possible within the context of a fat loss phase. Now unfortunately, typically when people try and lose body fat, typically they lose a large amount of muscle mass within the fat loss phase. Now, it's firstly just important to know there's always going to be a small amount of muscle loss within the fat loss phase just because we're in a calorie deficit. We need to be in a calorie deficit, i.e. burning more calories than we're consuming, and because we're doing this over a chronic period of time, there's always going to be a small degree of fat loss, but we need to focus on trying to maintain as much muscle mass as possible within the fat loss phase, and that's really our second goal. I always discuss there's two objectives within the fat loss phase. First is obviously to lose body fat, but the second is to really maintain as much muscle mass as possible within the fat loss phase. So the first tip that seems very simple, yet you'll be amazed that so many people do not apply this, and that's actually having weight training as the foundation of your routine. Typically, people are obsessed with, as soon as they're in a fat loss phase, they start going towards the treadmill and just performing CV stuff. If you're not performing weight training, if you're not having weight training as a foundation of your routine, you're just going to lose a lot of muscle mass within the fat loss phase, and that's not what we want as a male or as a female. The next mistake people make is, even if they are having weight training as the foundation of their routine, typically they just start performing lots of higher rep work with low weight because they believe this will burn more calories. And even though this will burn more calories, this shouldn't be our main focus within our weight training sessions. Our weight training's sole purpose within the fat loss phase is a tool to help maintain muscle mass. We're creating that calorie deficit via decreasing calories and also increasing energy expenditure for more cardio, but the weight training needs to stay constant. We need to be performing heavy weight training to preserve lean muscle mass. So even though you would burn more calories by doing more high repetition work, that's not the focus of the weight training session. We can create the calorie deficit from, as I mentioned, cardio and also reducing calories. So that's the next big tip, is make sure you're performing heavy weights with good form. Most of your repetitions will likely be within the 6 to 15 range. That's not to say you won't have some repetitions lower than 6 reps and some slightly higher than 15 reps, but the majority of your work will be within the 6 to 15 range. Now the next tip is to really make sure that you're limiting your cardio and calorie changes and only making changes when you actually reach a fat loss plateau. The real goal of fat loss, because we're trying to maintain as much muscle mass as within the fat loss phase, is trying to burn fat on as many calories as we can while performing minimal cardio while still making fat loss progress. The reason why we want to do that is that gives us our best chance of preserving lean muscle mass, as opposed to just slashing the calories and performing 7 days per week cardio from the start. And therefore we want to start the fat loss phase on as little cardio as we can or as many calories as we can while still making fat loss progress. Now keep in mind there's going to be fat loss plateaus within a fat loss phase, and that's perfectly normal, and that's your cue to either reduce calories or increase expenditure from more cardio. But the point I'm making is only make one of those changes when you've actually reached a fat loss plateau, as opposed to prematurely just slashing the calories and then adding in loads of cardio. Only add in more cardio and or decrease calories when you actually reach a fat loss plateau, i.e. when you're not in line with that 0.5 to 1% weight loss target. That's really your goal within the fat loss phase. That's a slow enough rate of weight loss that will allow you to maintain as much muscle mass as possible within the fat loss phase. If you're losing weight faster than that, you'll also be losing a lot of muscle mass as well. So hopefully this has been useful. Hopefully you can start applying some of these tactics immediately. Again, some of these may seem simple to some of you, but for other people this could be a big game changer in terms of you maintaining more muscle mass within the fat loss phase. So thank you very much for listening. If you're still yet to subscribe to the podcast, please do, so you don't miss a weekly episode. Additionally, if you're still yet to download my free book, How to Set Up a Nutrition Plan, if you go to James Layton, LAYTON, you'll see a tab at the top of the page called free book, and you can download that immediately. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Thank you very much.